Hi, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jess. And I am going to teach you today how to make this flower bag. So if you go onto my Etsy, which is linked in the description or in my bio, then you can purchase this PDF sewing pattern to make this flower bag. So without further ado, let's get into it. So for this project, you will need a 1 meter length of fabric. This does depend on the width of your fabric, obviously. My width of this is 140 centimeters wide on my fabric. And then I've got a meter here. It is folded over right now. You will also need some fabric for the pocket. You will need your fabric scissors. You will need your thread. I've got a matching thread for my fabric and a zip for the pocket. I've got a matching zip for the color of the fabric. Okay, so first we are going to press our fabric to get it all nice and flat so it's even for cutting. I did pre-wash this to make sure that if it ever needs washing, if the bag ever needs washing, then it shouldn't shrink. Because if you don't pre-wash your fabric, sometimes once you wash the item that you've made, it does shrink. So we can start cutting out now, but I have just decided that I'm going to do the inside of the bag in the white calico so the flowers look extra poppy, again, like the colours pop against the white background. So I'm going to do one body in the toile de joie, and I'm going to do one body in my white lightweight calico. Then I will do the pocket that the flowers go into in toile de joie as well. So I'm going to cut an extra bit of this. It's just a design choice, obviously. The pattern will still be the same. And if you wanted to, you would still use your main body fabric for both sides of the bag. I just want a white, nice, clean inside. So we are ready to start cutting now. As I am doing the second body bit in a different fabric, I'm just going to start by cutting my ties. So you will just follow the instructions that are on the pattern. It's already got the seam allowance on, so I'm just going to pin this down here and then cut this out. So I need to cut 4 of these. Then we just cut this out. So that is my first strap and my second strap. So I've got 2 together. Perfect. We'll put them over to the side and we'll just do the exact same for the next lot. Don't forget, if you were cutting them out just on the fold, then you need to cut 4 of these. But as I am cutting them on a double fold, I only need to cut 2 and that will make 4. So that is our straps done. Okay, So now we are going to cut our ties, and we need to cut 4 of these. So I'm going to lay this by here, pin it down by here. I'm cutting it by here because the ties end up quite slim when after you sew them. So just for the look of it, it doesn't really matter which way you lay these on your fabric, and I didn't want to cut it in the main bit that I've got down here, so I'm just going to cut it in this bit that I've got here to save fabric. Okay, so that's 2. Now we need another 2. And that is the ties cut. We are moving on to the body. So here is the pocket for the flowers, and we only need to cut 1 of these. And depending on how you were doing your laying out the fabric for your actual body, you either need to cut 2 of these, or you can cut 1 of these. And like I said, I'm going to cut 1 in my calico. So I'm going to just unfold the fabric and lay it flat. Main body here, and I want to see, because I'd like these on there. So if I do it around here, yeah, I'm going to do it further down in my fabric just so I can I've got some people here, and then I've got some people there as well. So I'm just going to start cutting this out now. Being careful to cut around this curve. And there are notches marked on the sides by here. So we need to mark them out. I'm going to use my pen and just do a little black mark there, and a little black mark. And that is your body fabric done. And now I'm just going to cut my inside body fabric out of here now. And mark my notches for my straps again. So then we have our inside body, and now all that is left is for us to cut out our pocket and our zipped pocket as well. Now I kind of like this, so I want this in there as well. So I'm going to place that like that, which is quite central, and I'm going to pin this down. Now remember, you only need 1 of these. That's my inside pocket. So now we're working on our pocket for here, which is cut on a fold. Okay, so we finished cutting everything out. You will have your pocket, which is this, the flower pocket, the inside body of my tote, and then I've got the outside body of my tote. So when it's sewn, it will look like outside, inside. Now you could just do the inside and the outside in this, but I wanted the contrast of the flowers. And then I thought it would be nice when that's on there, it will be like that as well, which I thought was quite nice. We have our 4 ties cut out, and you have your straps cut out. So the next part now will be sewing everything together. We're going to start with the straps and the ties, so they're ready for when we insert them into the body. So let's get started with the ties. So our sewing machine is thread up with the matching colour, and we're going to sew the ties. So how we're going to do this, fold them in, sew along the top here, and then sew down this side, leaving this end open so we can turn it through. And we are sewing this with a 1/2 centimetre seam allowance. Turn it. Pull that out. Okay, cut the edges off to make it into a cornered point. And now you need something long. I've got a knitting needle, and I'm going to turn through our strap. Pull this through like that. So there we have strap. There we go, fabric's all turned through. I'm just going to put the knitting needle back in to push out those corners. So there is your strap. And then we will go over and press that after we have done the other three. It is just time to press them flat. Press. And then you have a nice flat strap. There's another one. There we go, 4 straps. Okay, now you can just leave your straps like this, or you can top stitch them to make sure that they're secure. I may top stitch mine, so I'm just going to do that really quickly. Top stitch, you just stitch around the edge. That's it. And you make your stitch a bit longer because with the smaller stitch, it's not going to look as nice. So I have top stitched all of my ties, but we're going to move on to doing the straps now. So the straps are like the ties. It's way easier. We just lay them both right sides together, so the wrong sides are out, like this. And we just sew down here and down there, leaving the top ends, like the top and the bottom ends open. That simple, and then you just turn it through and press it. And for this, we are using a 1 centimeter seam allowance. And then we'll turn it around and do the other side, making sure to back stitch. So that is sewn. And then again, we are going to use our turny thing and turn it through. So just start to turn it through here, like so. And then I'm going to use the thicker end to push that in there and pull it, wiggle it down. This can take a bit of time. So I've turned my strap through and I've given it a press, and that is my strap. So say if that is like that, boom. So now we're going to do the same with the second strap. So we've done the straps and the ties, we've pressed them, they're all ready to go. So next we have to make the pocket with the zip in the outer fabric. So it will go here. I've marked it out already, and then that will go there. So here is my pocket fabric, that's my main fabric. I'm just going to put the zip by here, and I'm going to get my pencil and mark where it starts. So let's say it starts there, and it finishes there. So I've got my marks which I shall extend. Perfect. Now we need a ruler. So on that line that I marked, I've got a centimetre, and on the other side I will have another centimetre line. And now I will join those lines like so, and then I shall do the same on this side. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin the rectangle I've just drawn to the marks that I made on my fabric earlier. So I'll just pin the edge by here and this edge by here, and I'm going to sew around my rectangle. There we go, turn that around. And again. So now we have our rectangle sewn. And now we're going to make a little incision in the center here. Snip a little bit by here. Oh, there we go. And we need to draw a little triangle like this by here. That's going to be where we're cutting to. So we're going to cut all along here. Make a triangle there. We're going to cut all along here in the center, and then when we get to the points of the triangles, we're going to stop and we're going to cut into the corners, making sure not to snip the lines you've just sewn, okay? To those points of the corners that we've literally just drawn. So there, see? And then carefully into the corners without cutting your sewn lines. Perfect. And then we're going to do the same in the other direction as well. So you've got your zip opening like that. Then we're going to take these and push it through the hole to the other side and flatten it out. Okay. You've just got to fiddle with it until it's nice and neat. So I fold it through. I need to make sure that this is on the other side and nothing is peeking through the hole. And this is what it will look like on the back. Okay, so I'm going to take this over to the iron, and I'm going to press it in place, making sure that the back fabric for the pocket is inside. So we can start on the back, just to make sure. And it's important that we don't pull your gap wider. So press that in, get this pocket corner flat, and press it in. Give it a bit of steam if we need to. And let's check it around the front. So nothing from the back is peeking through and everything is round here. So now we have our gap for our zip. You need to get your zip and just lay that on top of there, like so. Get your actual zipper, put it to there, and then you just sew along the edge of your thing. I am going to pin it in place just so nothing moves. That is what it will look like towards the end, which is perfect. And now we shall sew it. And I'm just lining up the edge of my foot. Yeah, just lining up the edge of my clear foot. Go through. And then I'll turn this way, making sure everything is flat. Yeah, when you get close to the zipper, you are going to have to lift your foot and open the zip. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to get into here. Put that back down and carry on. Pushing that, making sure that stays where it's supposed to be. Okay. Putting that down, making sure that is where it's supposed to be. I'm going to zip it back up a bit. Okay. And then we're going to come back down this side then. Doing the exact same, being careful. And when you get far enough down, you can close the zip. Put the foot back down. Is your zipper then already? And this is on the back side. So let's cut off the threads. Now to finish the pocket off, all you need to do is fold this up like so, so the corners are touching. Sew along the top without sewing the front fabric. So we only need to sew this along the top and then down the sides, and that is it. So get your pockets like so without catching the back, the facing, the front fabric, sorry. And then sew that with a 1 centimeter seam allowance. Stopping at the top, lifting your presser foot, turning that over, lining your pockets up, making sure that the body fabric is tucked under, press foot down, sew top. And the same down this side, making sure the body fabric is out of the way and as flat as possible, which can be a little bit awkward. Press the foot down and sew to close. So it should look like that on the inside. Cut your extra threads off. And then you have a functioning pocket that will fit cards, keys, some money. Ooh, there we go, perfect. Okay, so we're back the next day. I have just decided to edge stitch along my straps because I think it gives it more structure along the edges and a nice finish. So I've done that to both of my straps. So now my straps have edge stitching, and so do my ties for the bag. So we've got the flower pocket, the inside body, and the outside body with my zip to put together today, and the ties and straps, and that's it. It's just sewing the body together, flipping it out, pushing the corners out now, and then pressing it flat and closing the gap we're going to leave at the bottom. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how we need to lay everything out. I've got my 4 ties and my 2 straps. So first I will lay my straps, making sure that they are like a curve and facing the same way. Now you should do this on the notches on your pattern. Line them up like so. Fold that over, and then we have to do the same on this side. Placing them like so. And then matching it to the notches and clipping it in. So I've aligned the notches, and then we need to add in our ties. So we've got one here, align that to your notch, one there. We've got one on this side right here, and 2 at the bottom. So the 2 mid straps are aligned with the notches, and the 2 bottom straps are on top of the bag strap. We have our flower pocket, which we lay on top here, and that will sew everything in. But first we need to finish the top edge. 1 centimeter and then another centimetre to give it the edge. So let's mark those. Okay. So yeah, we fold it down and then fold it again. I'm going to go press this into place and then I can sew top stitch it. There we go. So as you can see, I have folded it and then folded it again and pressed it in place, which will give me a nice stitch line. And then I shall top stitch this down. Don't forget to trim your threads off. And there we go. So then you want to lay this here and pin or tack that around to stop it from moving. So we shall put these clips in place, making sure everything is tucked inside. Perfect. Now we are going to get our inside piece and make sure everything's in, and we're going to clip that around as well. So we're going to clip around the long edges around the curved top, down the other side, and a bit at the bottom, and we're going to leave about a 6 centimetre gap underneath to turn everything through. So making sure everything is in line, all the corners are touching. We're going to clip that there, making sure these corners are in line, and we're going to clip that there. Perfect. Then I'm going to clip the 3 layers together there and there. We'll go a bit of fluff there. Making sure that you don't move any of the straps and the ties underneath, clipping it all together. There we go, making sure your notches are together as well. And now we shall do this side. That's all together. So then we just need to clip the top together with everything tucked inside. Okay, so everything is now inside here, and we are ready to sew around the edge. So like I said, we need to leave the gap at the bottom. That's why we haven't pinned there. So we're going to start about here and work our way around. And this is a 1 centimetre sewing allowance. So we put that there. We'll take the bottom clip out and sew around. When you get to the corner, make sure you've left your centimetre and pivot it. I've used clips with this, but if you feel better using pins, then you can use pins also. So we're just going to sew that all the way around, making sure to move nothing. Okay, so everything has been sewn around. Oh, that's caught in there, but it's okay. All around there, the pocket isn't caught in anything, which is great. And everything is enclosed. So now we're going to use the hole that we've left and flip everything out through. Okay, you can use the straps to pull that through. And look at that. Everything is through and sewn together. Everything can be closed. I need my knitting needle or whatever you're going to use to push through, and we're just going to push out the corners that we have. Let's do the other side. Pushing everything out. Oh, perfect. So the bottoms are pushed through and push all of the top through too. And I like to run my knitting needle along my curve to make sure that everything is pushed out. Pull your pointer out, making sure everything is flat, and there you have it. You're basically finished at this point. You just need to press everything, press this here, and then top stitch it. So now I'm going to press that. So I fold that in to the centimeter. Okay, I grab my iron and then I just steam it closed. Perfect. I'm going to press this now, and I think I may top stitch the edge of this bag as well, just so it matches the outside. So as I am top stitching, I will close the seam. If you didn't want to top stitch this and you just wanted to press it, you could just stitch along the bottom here and just close that. But I am going to press everything now and then top stitch on my sewing machine. And now starting at the bottom where our opening is, I am going to top stitch all around here. Like I said, this is optional, but I think it will give it a lovely finish, especially as I've top stitched the straps and the ties. And I'm going to do that with a bigger stitch as well. Ooh, back tack, don't forget. When I get to the curve, I am going to slow the machine down a bit just so to make sure that I get it nice and in line with the curve. Oh, that's a bit too slow. There we go. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Speed it up just that little bit. And we're done. So trim off your threads. Beautiful and beautiful. So now you have a flower bag. Okay, so here is the bag. That is the outside. That is the inside with the little flower pocket. Beautiful. And then this is what it would be like on. Oh. Making sure the straps aren't twisted. Beautiful. Okay. Look at that. With some flowers in there. Oh. Yes. Oh, I'm proud of this. So yeah, that is your flower bag. All done. So that is it. Thank you for following along. If you've purchased the sewing pattern, I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. And yeah, that's it.